We are back with the first waiver wire video of the year where you can potentially grab guys off the wire that will produce for you all season long. The first few weeks are super important, finding guys that were undervalued and undrafted on draft night that either have larger roles than anticipated, look like they took a massive step forward this year, or have had a starter in front of them go down with injury and now have increased opportunity ahead of them. We are going to go over some shallow league ads where most of these guys are probably already taken, probably already drafted in super competitive 12-team leagues, but make sure you don't skip this part. Double check, see if they're still floating around on your wire. We will then have a main waiver wire section where these players should be available in a majority of leagues. And then I'm going to give you some guys who you shouldn't panic over, who you should hold on to for now, and try to not overreact to their slow starts. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Chris, spelled with a C, not a K, unlike someone else in this video, home to the greatest 5'10" mini hoop pull-up half-court shot maker in all of YouTube. Not actually, though. First up in the main waiver wire section, we're going to go Tre Jones, the Chicago Bulls point guard filling in for an injured Coby White. So Tre Jones definitely may be more of a short-term man, as most of his value will be gone when Coby White does return. That still is a few weeks away though, so in the meantime, Tre should be in your starting lineup. He's going to be a great source of field goal percentage, assists, and steals, while always scoring in the double digits. Jones was very impressive to close out 2024, so he's done it in the past. You don't have to worry about him just completely falling off a cliff here. I expect him to be a great fantasy asset for as long as White is sidelined. If that's what you're looking for in the short term, Tre is definitely your guy. Next up, we have a fellow Chris, except for the fact that it's spelt with a K, just an absolute abomination there. But Middleton balled out against his former team game 1, posting a full line. Game 2 was a little bit different against the Mavericks though. He struggled with his shot, only going 4 for 13 with 9 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, but salvaged his night with 3 steals. Middleton played 29 minutes in both games and the usage has been good through 2, so I am still considering him an ad. He's not an absolute smash ad based off his game 1 performance, but I imagine he can still be useful in 12-team leagues moving forward. I like his current role. The Wizards are a young team, so maybe a vet like Middleton steps up, takes control of the youngins, and produces in real life and for us fantasy managers by getting his fair share of shots, and one would assume that he wants to play well to get traded later on in this year to a contender. That makes me a little bit less excited for his rest of season outlook, because who knows if he does end up in a different situation, what the usage, what the shot attempts will look like. But for now, Middleton should be a end of the lineup, nice bench type guy for 12-team leagues. Next up, we have Obi Toppin. Now in game 1, both Pacer centers, Jackson and Huff, were pretty much non-existent, which led Carlisle to put Toppin in as the center, and he didn't let his coach down. He logged 40 minutes, scoring 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists while going 8 for 18 from the floor, and perfect from the charity stripe. We can't just automatically assume this is going to be the norm going forward. We know Jackson was going to be brought along slowly due to his prior injuries, but you couldn't have asked for a better start from Toppin. The Pacers need scores, especially with Nembhard hurting his shoulder, and Toppin stepped up. I'm going to be very curious how the next few games play out, if his usage is still going to skyrocket like this, if his minutes are still going to be this high, and if he leapfrogs the other centers. If that actually does happen, Toppin is going to be waiver wire gold for fantasy managers that were able to snag him early on. He's a definition of a pure upside lottery ticket with absolutely no guarantees. Next up, we're going to go Ryan Kalkbrenner from the Charlotte Bobcats. Mr. Kalk got the start and logged his first double-double with 10 points and 11 rebounds with 2 blocks, going 5 for 6 from the field. Kalkbrenner was a dominant defensive presence in college with Creighton, so I'm not really worried about his game translating into the NBA, evidenced by his 2 swats already in game 1. The playing time will be the biggest thing for him, but he logged 6 more minutes than Diabate in game 1, and Mason Plumlee didn't even see the floor. If Kalkbrenner hovers around the 30-minute mark per game, he'll be extremely useful. He'll get a bunch of easy putbacks, bunch of easy oops playing with LaMelo Ball, and he'll definitely pull down his fair share of blocks and rebounds. I'm very intrigued to see how the rotation and minutes pan out going forward, and teams in desperate need of a center can most certainly take a fleer on the big white guy. We're going to continue on with Grayson Allen from the Phoenix Suns, another potentially short-term thing with Jalen Green nursing a hamstring injury, but unlike Tre Jones, I think there is a chance of Allen holding 12-team league value going forward, even when Green does make it back on the court. All he needs is the minutes, so it depends how the rotations are going to go, because Allen has shown that he can be useful in the past. When Allen is getting 30 minutes per night, he will score with plenty of threes, he'll be able to bring down boards, dish out assists, and he is active on the defensive end. I really do think this Phoenix offense, this Phoenix team is going to be starved for scores outside of Booker and people that can just space the floor and hit an open three. And Allen sort of does fit that bill, and I can see Grayson being a decent size or being a decent part of the rotation going forward. Allen has proven it in the past when given opportunity, so this is definitely an option for short term, but I do think I am hopeful that he'll be able to hold out a decent sized role even when Jalen Green does return. I see that, Milo? Wow. Look at that. Who's saying you see your Timbit? Look at this drawing. Wow. Is that good? Who's saying your Timbit? Next up, we got Nikola Jovic off the Miami Heat. Now, Jovic started game 1, but he really didn't perform that well. He only scored 9 points and played 23 minutes. In game 2, Ware got the start, but Jovic played a lot better, scoring 20 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, while shooting 67% from the floor with 3 threes and a perfect 5 for 5 from the line. The rotations may differ depending on the matchup with him and Ware, but if Jovic's minutes hover around the 27 to 30 per night, I think most certainly he'll be useful for 12-team leagues, as this game is very fantasy friendly. He can score, he can shoot threes, he can rebound the basketball, he can act as a facilitator, and he does contribute a little bit on the defensive end as well. Jovic is a solid pickup for deeper 12-league teams right now. I don't think the return of Tyler Herro will prevent too much from Jovic when he does come back. I think it'll affect other guys on the Miami roster more than him. So we have another familiar name if you guys watch any of the pre-draft videos with Kyle Filipowski from the Utah Jazz. Big White Kyle Filipowski has started the last 2 games and logged 25 minutes in both, and if he can stay consistently over the 25-minute mark and push closer to the 30-minute mark per game, I think he's going to be very solid for all 12 league teams. Filipowski is such a versatile player, he just needs the minutes and usage. Nothing is guaranteed with this Jazz team, as evidenced by last year. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Who knows if they're going to tank, what they're going to do with rotation, shutting guys down, sitting guys randomly. But honestly, they were 1 shot away from starting the season out 2-0. I know that's nothing, but every win is huge for this Utah team to get out of the basement and kind of push to be a little bit more relevant than last year. If Filipowski is going to be a key part of Utah's rotation, he'll be a key part of our fantasy teams this year. I was big on him, drafting him with my last pick in almost all my teams and drafts, as I told you guys to do the same. I'm still super hype on him. Was not really expecting him to play 25 minutes in back-to-back games already to start the year. I was hopeful, but I wasn't sure really what Utah was going to do with their rotations. Filipowski can score, hit threes, rebound, pass, and not destroy your field goal percentage, all from the center spot. I like Filipowski. He's a guy I want on the bench in all deeper 12 league teams just because I think his upside is just so good. And last up, we're gonna go with Jaylen Wells. Now, I talked about him a lot in preseason in a couple sleeper videos, and he's definitely going to be well more suited for a category league and a manager in desperate need of threes. That's literally all 8 of his field goal attempts were from beyond the arc in game 2. I like his ability as a scorer to take over that Desmond Bane spot alongside John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. I'll need to see him contribute a little bit more in the counting stats, get a little bit more active on the defensive end, but he's a freak nature kind of athlete. He has great instincts on the basketball court. I'm hopeful for him. He's not a smash ad right away, but he's definitely someone to put on your watch list and see if he continues to take step forwards as the season progresses. And a little bonus guy, a little honorable mention, I did want to talk about him just a little bit. I'm not the most ecstatic for him, but that's PJ Washington off the Dallas Mavericks. They have him handling the ball a ton right now because they don't really have a traditional point guard. Flag's being kind of moved in and around that lineup. They're waiting till Kyrie Irving returns, and I don't know if it's for the best, evidenced by PJ Washington's 8 turnovers last game, but if he's getting up 12 to 14 shots per night, he's going to be very useful, or not very useful, but he's going to be useful for 12-team leagues, and he'll probably be a top 100 player by season's end. He can score, he can hit threes, he can rebound the basketball. He's not the best facilitator, evidenced by his only 2 assists through 2 games this year. He can get the odd steal here and there, the odd block, but his biggest things will be points, threes, and a decent field goal percentage, while bringing down a handful of boards each night. If that's what you're looking for in your 12-team league right now, PJ Washington is your guy. Just know the upside is pretty limited with him. Okay, now let's get into some shallow league ads. Again, these guys were probably drafted or picked up right away in super competitive, deeper 12-team leagues, but still, make sure you check this section out, see if any of these guys are floating around in your wire, because I think they definitely need to be rostered at this point. Now, first up, we have Davion Mitchell from the Miami Heat. Now, Mitchell's 12 assists in game 1 was a bit fluky, considering he only had an 18% usage rate, and his teammates converted 12 of his 14 possible assist attempts, which just isn't sustainable at all unless you're playing with the Monstars in Looney Tunes. Mitchell in game 2 was a lot quieter, albeit it was a blowout, so I don't know how much we can really dive into that as his minutes were reduced, but he only produced a line of 2 points, 1 rebound, and 7 assists. He only took 2 shots in 20 minutes of play. I don't want to read, again, too much into this game because it was practically over in the first quarter and 100% over at half. I think he will be useful, but the excitement after game 1 definitely needs to be toned down and pulled back just a little bit. There will also be the return of Tyler Herro in the future as well, so don't forget about that because that's going to directly affect his value when he does get back on the court. Regardless though, I think Mitchell will be super useful for 12-team leagues, especially teams in need of assists. Side note though, what do I need to... oh yeah, right there. What do we need to put on the shelf? It's too empty for me, man. Give me some ideas in the comments down below. I'll put up whatever the most liked comment is, unless it's something ridiculous, then I'll for sure do it. Let's move on to the guy that I'm most excited about, who I think has the most breakout potential rest of season, and that's Keyshawn George from the Washington Wizards. Now, George has been insane through the first 2 games now, and on Friday he had 34 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, and 7 3-pointers while shooting 73% from the floor and perfect from the line. Talk about a stat line for the young man. George has become the youngest player in franchise history to open up the season with consecutive 20-point games at just 20 years old. George's defensive versatility, being able to guard positions 1 through 4, so that means point guard up to power forward, or in some instances a center, just keeps him on the court, keeps his minutes consistent, as he'll be guarding the opposing team's best player each night. For example, on Wednesday in game 1, George guarded Giannis all night. George is a 100% must add where available. It's hard to not overreact only 1 week in, only 2 games in, but the upside with him and his fantasy game is just too good to pass up right now, in my opinion. You definitely have to be prepared for some ups and downs. I don't think he's going to be this good going forwards. He's going to have some shooting performance issues as expected because we are talking about a 20-year-old kid here, don't forget, but I like it. I'm buying in. If George is available, go get him right now. Next up, we have Herbert Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, if you watched my pre-draft videos, I was super high on Jones in the preseason. I talked about him in the sleeper video, talked about him in the breakout video. The main thing that I wanted to see him improve on going into this year was his 3-point stroke, and he did just exactly that in game 1. He posted 17 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, and shot 43% from the floor. Jones' 3-point stroke did look improved in game 1. However, game 2 was kind of a completely different story. He went atrocious 0 from 8 from the floor, completely sucking all that positive juice he had gained in game 1. But don't worry, there was some justification for it. He was in foul trouble super early. He only ended up playing 28 minutes, and I know you think, well, 28 minutes isn't that actually bad, but the other starters like him played in the 40s, and when you get it in foul trouble early, it can sometimes just completely disrupt your rhythm. You're thinking about it all game. Opposing teams can isolate you on the offensive end, trying to get you another foul, get you to the bench, and when you have the ball on the offensive end, you're even a little hesitant driving to the hoop. You don't want to get a charge call. You want to play, and sometimes, like for me, it just completely threw me off the rest of the game. And I think that's what happened here with Herbie. Another perfect example of that is really Dyson Daniels from game 1. Go take a look at his game log and know that he was in foul trouble immediately. But back to Jones, he's a defensive anchor. His stock contributions are where he thrives as an elite wing defender, averaging over 1.4 steals over the last 3 seasons. Don't let that last game scare you. His role is super secure in that New Orleans lineup, and I'm still pretty hype on Jones' rest of season outlook. Next up, we have VJ BJ Mr. Edcombe. Now, VJ who? Edcombe scored the most points, 34, in an NBA debut since Big Wilt in 1959. So let that soak in for just a second. I don't think VJ's usage will be that crazy going forward. He attempted a wild 26 shots, and my God, I guess he just has the green light in game 1 of his NBA career. This might end up honestly as VJ's best game of the year, 42 minutes and no George or Embiid really. I don't know if you guys saw any of that game 1 highlights, but Embiid literally was out there running around like he had no kneecaps. He was like getting an inch of vert off the floor. It looked really bad, but I don't think he's going to be be like that going forward, or at least I just can't believe that until I see it on a more consistent basis. Regardless though, if VJ's floating around on your wire right now, you have to add him. You just can't afford not to. Just be prepared when Embiid gets ramped up and when George does return to the court, he might get bumped down in the pecking order pretty hard. Regardless though, unbelievable start to his career for the young fella. We'll keep going with Jonathan Kuminga from the Golden State Warriors. Now I am really digging Kuminga this year as a secondary scorer behind Curry and Butler on the Golden State Warriors. I love that it looks like he's worked on his game in the offense. He looks more under control. He doesn't look out of control in years past, and it looks like he's worked on his three-point stroke a little bit. It looks a little bit more in tune, and he's knocking down threes at a more consistent basis this year. I think Kuminga is out to prove something this year after all that turmoil, after all that drama with the Golden State front office in the offseason, and he's now turned in 3 solid lines in a row. Kuminga definitely looks more comfortable shooting the ball, which will be huge for him, huge for the Warriors as they need spacing alongside Curry with the Butler Green lineups. Kuminga is the definition of pure athleticism. As long as he keeps playing under control, like I said, and like he's done in the first 3 games, lines like this will continue, and you'll stay out of Steve Kerr's doghouse. I think Kuminga could be a very solid guy for 12-team leagues all season long. We'll keep going with Toumani Camara from the Portland Trailblazers. Now, honestly, why is Camara only 42% owned? Like, I'm legit wondering why. In the leagues that he's floating around on the wire right now, you really have guys on your bench with as much upside with Camara that you don't want to drop him for? Let me know down below. I'm just curious. I won't judge you either way. Camara had no stocks game 1, which will be an anomaly. Game 2, he popped off scoring 19 points with 7 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 3 threes. I know I keep talking about everyone's improvement behind the three-point line, but really, that's just the reality of today's NBA, and you can thank Steph Curry for that. Teams need people that can shoot from beyond the arc. Teams' entire offenses run from outside the three-point line. Spacing is so important. It's so critical in today's game. If you can't space the floor, it's so hard for teams and coaches to get you on there with consistent minutes. So for a guy like Camara, who's a stud defensive player, if he can space the floor on the offensive end, if he can hit an open 3, it just elevates his real life contributions for the Portland Trailblazers so much more. It makes him easily stay on the court for 35 plus minutes each night, and it raises his fantasy floor for us tremendously. With 5 made threes in the first 2 games, looks like Kamara's worked on his stroke over the offseason, and as a stereotypical 3-and-D guy, I wouldn't count on Kamara scoring 20 points per night. He'll definitely live on the defensive side of the ball, but there's no way he should be this lowly rostered. Am I just tripping here? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, I'll reply to every single comment, every video. And last up for the shallow league ads, we have Michael Jordan, or I mean Aaron Gordon, who put a 50 bird on the Warriors game 1 to start the year. And you know what's hilarious? He's the first person, and you can't make this up, the first person to score 50 points in the season debut since Terry Rozier. Yes, Terry Rozier. Mr. Gambling 101, baby. When I heard it on the broadcast, I actually thought they were joking. But no, it's legit, if you can believe that. If Gordon is floating around on your wire right now, you want to pick him up immediately and try and sell him for anything. Sell so high on Gordon. This will end up being his best game of the year, or probably the best game of his career, honestly, and they lost, which sucks for Gordon. But man, that 3-point stroke was so silky, was so smooth. I knew it was going in the second it left his hands. He was so square. Everything looks so fluid. He really does look like he's made improvements over the offseason on his 3-point game. Again, like I've said a million times this video, watching him and Curry go haymaker for haymaker was pure cinema, and I definitely ruined a couple pants watching it. All right, now we're getting into the section for the players to hold, where some people might be freaking out, the panic meter going up, but I'm here just to tell you, take a deep breath, relax, give these guys a few more games. It's still so early. Let's not overreact here. First player to hold is Tari Eason. Now, the first game was as bad as it could have went for him. In the second game, he did get 28 minutes. He still played pretty poorly, but you have to hold for a little bit longer. His game is too fantasy friendly when given the consistent opportunity. Next up, we have Dante DiVincenzo. He played a lot better game 2. He hit some threes. He's a strong per minute producer. So if he's going to get this kind of run on a nightly basis, he'll be a producer for 12-team leagues. Stay patient with him. His shot will come. He'll start hitting shots at a more consistent basis going forward. This one might be a little controversial. I know probably a lot of people have dropped him already, but that's Bradley Beal. So I'm still holding him for at least a couple more games. If he's still not shooting, I'll be done with him. But since when does Bradley Beal only shoot 4 times in 20 minutes? Regardless of who he's playing with and regardless of the system, I'm not buying it. Something's going on, hence why I'm holding for a little bit longer. Next one, Brandon Pajemski. It's It's getting tougher to hold each game. The minutes are down to 22 and the shot still looks gross, chunky to me. He's a solid all-around guard for counting stats, but if Jonathan Kuminga's going to keep rising, going to keep starting and getting this kind of usage and minutes, I think we might be done with Brandon pretty soon here, but I still got to give it a little bit more time. And last up, Isaiah Jackson. I got to give him a few more games, at least the opportunity to remember how to play basketball coming off a huge injury. Pacers center spot is so wide open, it's crazy. If it's still bad, by next week, you can punt this guy back to the gulag. And finally, since I gave you guys a ton of guys to add, I got to give you some guys so you can drop to. See ya! First up, we got Sammy Boy, Mr. Sammy Adams, Sam Hauser. If you don't need threes and you're not in a category league, he's just not going to be consistent enough on a night-to-night basis to be worth rostering. D'Angelo Russell, he just looks so washed. Drop him and don't think twice. Young Hassan, we don't need to have him rostered unless something happens to Klingon, or we're talking about way in the second half of the season when things get a little bit silly. Santi Aldama, this is a tough one and a borderline hold for me because I do like his game, but 20 minutes just ain't going to cut it. And this is still without Zach Edey, so when Zach Edey gets back, it could get even worse. I guess we need a TV timeout right now. Ellie, my cat's taking a fat right now. All right, now that it smells like pure ass in here, the last guy I'm considering dropping, or who I'm for sure dropping, will be Klay Thompson. Now, it pains me to say this. I hate seeing him look washed out there, just chucking away brick after brick, but there's just so many more higher upside guys that we can grab off the wire than keeping Klay Thompson on our rosters. 30% rostered is like crazy, no? Name value goes hard. All right, guys, that's it for this waiver wire video, the first of the year. If you like this video, hit that sub button, hit that like button, hit that hype button, whatever the hype even does, I don't even know. If you hated this video, smash that dislike button. It's all good. I appreciate you guys being here. Leave a comment down below. Again, I'll try to reply to every comment, every single video. Time to take the hat off. You can see why I wear a hat when I don't want to do my hair for these videos. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. I hope you guys have a great week. Maybe I'll do a midweek recap video again. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. But if not, for sure, I'll see you sometime real soon.